Welcome back to part 3 of my guide to genetic archives. Today I will be covering Phagetech Guardians C432 and C148, the first two mini-bosses of the second floor, the two different routes to Phage Maw and their respective challenges, and Phage Maw, the third boss of genetic archives. Once you have killed Feed-Mist creation and activated a teleporter, the portal next to the entrance will take you directly to the second floor. From there, you have the option of heading to either Phage Maw or Phagetech prototypes. Which boss you choose to kill first will determine which path you will take. Each of the Phagetech Guardians will open the door to the boss located at their respective sides. So unlike the first three mini-bosses on the first floor, the Guardians are not optional. I recommend killing both Phagetech Guardians regardless of which boss you decide to kill first, as they drop decent loots, including several weapons. My guide will feature Phage Maw first. Once you've arrived on the second floor, you want to head to Phagetech Guardians C432, the one on the left side of the map. While on your way to C432, you will encounter numerous packs of trash. I recommend clearing the 2 packs featured in this video while skipping the rest. Note that Phagetech Guardians C432 and C148 are exactly the same, along with the 2 trash packs you have to clear on the way. Therefore, I will only be explaining the fights once. The first trash pack you will encounter has 1 Phageborn Dark Blade and 2 Phageborn Death Speakers. This is one of the easier trash you will encounter on the second floor. The Dark Blade has 3 in-up armors and a frontal cleave. It also casts Castigate, a stationary telegraph that does damage after a 2-second cast. It can either be interrupted or dodged out of. The Death Speakers have 1 interrupt armor and cast Death Spikes, putting a circular telegraph under a random member that damages the player after a 3-second cast. It can be interrupted or simply healed through. After the first trash pack, you will want to wait to pull the patrolling trash consisting of 1 Elder Phageborn Vilecaster and 1 Phageborn Brute. Be very careful of the positions of the surrounding trash packs so you don't accidentally pull them. Both the Vilecaster and Brute have 10 interrupt armors and can each cast 2 spells. The Vilecaster can cast Bile Expulsion, an interruptible 1-second cast spell that puts a large circular telegraph under the entire raid that completes after 5 seconds, dropping circular telegraphs on the ground that lasts 20 seconds or until the Vilecaster dies. The Vilecaster also casts Putrefy, an interruptible 1.5 second spell that puts a giant circular telegraph under the tank with save zones inside, dealing damage to anyone standing in the telegraph after the cast. Meanwhile, the Brute can cast Stomp, a line telegraph that aims in the direction it's facing that gradually gets longer, dealing damage and pulling in those who get hit. The Brute can also cast Beatdown, an interruptible channeling spell that emits a circular telegraph from the boss that gradually gets larger, dealing massive damage to those inside. Beatdown is the only spell that must be interrupted as quickly as possible. Next, make your way carefully in between the trash packs to Phagetech Guardians C432. Phagetech Guardians are 2 of the easiest mini-bosses in the instance. They have 5 interrupt armors and require 1 tank and 2 to 3 healers. The Guardians do a frontal and backward cleave, so the tank should face the boss away from the raid while melees should position on the sides and the range on the back of the boss. The cleaves have wide angles and a decent range, so be careful where you stand. Occasionally, the Guardians will turn around and target a random member in the range group, grappling that person and those around him or her into the boss. Those who are grappled must immediately roll backwards and away from the boss, as the boss will cast Eradicate, a channeled flamethrower spell that will kill any non-tank members and a few ticks. Do not roll sideways, as the boss will turn and follow whomever he originally targeted with the Eradicate. You will kill yourself and possibly the melee group if you roll to the sides. Phagetech Guardians also cast Genetic Overload, a series of 3 interruptible 2.5 second spells that overloads each of the side pillars, then both at the same time. The raid should move out of the first 2 genetic overloads and interrupt the third. Those who get hit by the first 2 genetic overloads will be teleported up to a room above, where they must traverse through a short obstacle course and jump down to rejoin the raid. After the Guardians get below 50%, they will occasionally summon Annihilation Probes. DBS should interrupt the probes and kill them as quickly as possible, as they can deal a lot of damage to the raid if left alive. Rinse and repeat until the bosses are dead. Killing each of the Guardians will open up the door to the boss at their respective sides. You'll either have to take the top or the bottom path, as only 1 door will be open on each side. Check your map and event log to see which path you must take. Each path features different trash packs and a different challenge on the way. Phage Maw's bottom path will ask you to defeat all creatures in the Nanite-Filled room. While on the way to the Nanite-Filled room, you will encounter several packs of trash. First is the trash pack guarding the entrance to the hallway. consisting of 1 Nanite-Infused Defender and 2 Nanite Distribution Construct. The Defender has infinite interrupt armor so it can cast Nanite Empowerment, which drops a purple circle on the ground that increases the damage dealt by 100% for those who are inside the circle. Have the raid stand inside the circle to DPS while tanking the mobs outside of it. The constructs have full interrupt armor so it can cast Nanite Infection, also known as AIDS. An interruptible 3-second cast spell that puts a circular telegraph under a random person that becomes active after the cast. Once the infection becomes active, the player takes dot damage for the next 9 seconds and infects anyone the player touches with a red telegraph. Therefore, either interrupt the spell or have the person in the circle move out of the raid before the end of the 3-second cast. Note that the dot damage can stack if people stand in multiple circles. Next, you will encounter a trash bag consisting of 1 Phage-born Brute and 1 Nanite-Infused Defender. Avoid Stomp, interrupt Beatdown, and stand the purple circle to DPS. After you enter the hallway, clear either the left or the right trash pack. They both consist of 2 Phage-born Dark Blades and 2 Nanite Distribution Constructs. Avoid Frontal Cleave, interrupt Castigate and or Nanite Injection, and don't spread the AIDS. You can clear both packs if you want to avoid accidental pulling later. Finally, clear the trash pack with the Brute and Defender guarding the entrance to the Nanite-Filled room. The Nanite-Filled room is a room at the halfway point to Phage Maw. There are 4 trash packs of 3 mobs inside the room. Clear the room and you'll complete the event and receive loot. The challenge for the Nanite-Filled room is that's the stuff, which completes if you clear the Nanite-Filled room without anyone in the raid taking damage from another player's Nanite Injection. Nanite Injection is a debuff you'll receive once you step into the room, putting a white diamond-like glow over your character that gets stronger as the debuff counts down. When the debuff times out, you will explode, dealing damage to yourself and those around you in a medium-sized circular telegraph. I recommend cheesing the challenge, as any extra loot will help your raid progress. To cheese the challenge, have the entire raid stand outside the room and away from the door. Have 1 tank go inside the room and pull each trash packs out for the raid to kill. Be careful not to engage the trash until the tank's Nanite Injection debuff wears off. You don't have to pull the trash packs in any particular order. The trash pack on the right side of the entrance has 1 volatile Phage-born Mauler and 2 Phage-born Death Speakers. The Mauler has 10 interrupt armor and can cast 3 spells. First is Phagetech Senior, a 1.3 second cast that launches the Mauler forward, dealing damage to those standing in its way. Next is Expel, a 3-second cast spell that deals damage and knocks people back in a large circular AoE. Last is Volatile Makeup, an uninterruptible 7.5 self-destruct spell that the Mauler casts around 10%. Killing anyone caught inside the AoE after the cast. Though 2 of the Mauler spells are interruptible, you don't want to interrupt the Mauler unless you're sure you can kill him during the moment of opportunity or soon after. This is because the Mauler gains a stackable buff every time it loses an interrupt armor. After he gets 5 stacks, he will gain another buff, increasing his damage dealt by 100% for the next 20 seconds. That buff combined with Expel will easily wipe the raid. Also, keep in mind if you leave the Death Speakers alone for too long without interrupting them, they will gain a dispellable buff called Strain Synergy, which greatly increases their cast speed, increases their magic damage dealt by 50%, and give them infinite interrupt armors. This results in them casting 0.3 second death spikes, which will eventually wipe the raid if they are not purged. I recommend stacking everything together and tank next to a wall while facing the Mauler towards the wall. Leave everything and don't interrupt. That way you'll be able to kill the Death Speakers before they become unmanageable while avoiding giving Maulers buff stacks. The pack on the left side of the entrance consists of 1 Elder Phage-born Vilecaster, 1 Nanite-Infused Defender, and 1 Nanite Distribution Construct. Focus the Vilecaster down first while utilizing the purple circle. Avoid spreading AIDS. The pack on the left side of the room has 1 Elder Phage-born Vilecaster and 2 Phage-born Brutes. and this is perhaps the hardest trash pack inside the room. I recommend splitting the pack into two, one with a Vilecaster and a single brute and the other with the other brute. Cleave the double pack first while focusing down the Vilecaster. Make sure you interrupt beatdown. For the single pack, have its tank and healers run out of beatdown range when it's channeled. The last pack at the back of the room has the Molar and 2 death speakers you previously killed. Clear all 4 packs and now you've completed the event and its challenge. To make this challenge even easier, there is currently a bug that makes each pack despawn as long as the raid kills at least one of them before wiping. There are some tough trash packs in the room, so don't worry about wiping, just kill at least one mob. On the other hand, the top path will ask you to defeat the constructs in the Eldan Centrifuge. You will encounter trash packs that have different combinations to the mobs I already covered in this guide. None of them are particularly difficult, so I will not be going over them. Clear the pack guarding the door and the 2 trash packs on either side of the hallway and you're ready for the Centrifuge room. Don't worry about accidentally pulling the mobs on the side you didn't clear, as you won't be fighting in the hallway for this event. The Centrifuge room features slow spinning laser walls that the raid must move with while clearing the 3 trash packs inside the room. Yes, this time you actually have to go inside. Each trash pack consists of 1 Nanite-infused defender and 1 Nanite distribution construct. Recall the defender is the purple circle guy and the construct is the 8th guy. I apologize for not having a video for this room. My recording cut off early for unknown reasons and I don't plan to wait another 2 weeks to get new footages for this guy. The challenge for the Centrifuge room is Venn diagram of power, which completes if you clear Eldan's Centrifuge after standing in 3 overlapping Nanite empowerment fields. The Nanite empowerment fields are the purple circles that the defender casts. Note that you don't need to kill everything while standing in 3 overlapping purple circles. You just need to clear the room after having been in 3 overlapping purple circles at some point during the encounter, even if it's only for 1 second. To complete the challenge, the raid must move along with the laser walls while engaging the 3 trash packs inside the room. Note that the door to the Centrifuge will close after 15 seconds. I recommend cleaving each pack after you pull. The constructs will naturally die first, and after the defender gets relatively low, have the off-tank pull it off to the side and kite it around. Repeat this for the next 2 packs, making sure you leave the 3 defenders alive. As soon as you engage the 3rd pack, you can start looking for opportunities to drop 3 overlapping circles. A good way to do this is to have the off-tank drop 2 circles from his 2 defenders and have the main tank pull his defender and construct close enough to the circles for the 3rd one to overlap. Have someone, or everyone, stand in the overlapping parts of the 3 circles and your character will have a brief diamond-like glow. After that, kill everything and you will complete the challenge. Like the Nanite-Filled room, the Centrifuge room also has despawning mobs. I'm not sure what triggers it, but it happened after my raid wiped on the first attempt after a few people managed to get the overlapping bug. When we got back to the room, there were only 2 trash packs inside, meaning only 2 purple circles. However, the standing in the 3 overlapping purple circle part of the challenge persisted through death, so we got the challenge after we cleared the 2 trash packs. Next, have a scientist capable of stealthing or dropping aggro make his or her way to Phage Maw's room. You will save a lot of time if you can manage to skip the trash. After the raid gets summoned, turn around and clear the trash pack right outside the door, because that's where Phage Maw's graveyard is. If you took the bottom path, the trash pack will be 1 Vilecaster and 2 Dark Blades. If you took the top path, the trash pack will have 1 Vilecaster. After you cleared the trash, you are now ready for Phage Maw. Phage Maw is a combination of a DPS check and how well a raid can execute boss mechanics during the fight. He has no interrupt armors and requires 1 tank and 4 to 5 healers. Phage Maw has 3 phases, the air phase, the ground phase, and the burn phase. Phage Maw's challenge is Clear the Air, which is completed if you defeat Phage Maw without allowing him to fly for more than 30 seconds at a time during the air phase. Upon entering the room, you will see 3 generators located at the north, east, and south side of the room. To start the fight, you must bring Phage Maw down to the ground by recharging the 3 generators using energy batteries lying around the room. Each generator requires 6 batteries to charge. Upon stepping on the battery, the player will be rooted. He or she must use the special action bar to throw the battery forward in the direction he or she is facing to release the root. The default key binding for the action bar is Ctrl F1. However, I recommend rebinding it to something you're more familiar with. As soon as the generators are charged, the fight will start and Phage Maw will cast Crater, an uninterruptible spell that will cause him to crash onto the ground after 7.5 seconds, killing everyone. To prevent death, a random member in the raid must activate a shield, which puts a circular green telegraph the size of defense grid on the ground, protecting the raid from the impending crater. The player with the shield is mentioned by name in the Datacron channel and must use the special action bar to cast the shield, same as the battery. Note that the shield is also a wall, meaning anyone caught outside the telegraph will not be able to get into the shield after it is casted. Therefore, the entire raid should stack together under Phage Maw at the center of the room. After the boss lands, he will enter a 15-second moment of opportunity and remain on the ground for the next approximately 1 minute and 40 seconds. Burn hard. During the ground phase, the boss will chain cast Laser Blast, a 2-second cast spell that shoots a projectile in a line forward to the tank, leaving behind a line telegraph that fades after a while. This is solely a tank mechanic that requires the tank to strafe in a circle during the fight so he or she does not stand in overlapping telegraphs. A few seconds after the moment of opportunity, Phage Maw will throw out 4 bombs around the room in varying timer and HP as its fuse. When a bomb detonates, whether by the raid or by its fuse, it will deal damage to the entire raid. Phage Maw will detonate all remaining bombs and throw out 4 more approximately every 30 seconds until the next air phase. Since the ground phase is approximately 1 minute and 40 seconds, Phage Maw will throw out a total of 12 bombs during the ground phase. Detonating 3 or 4 bombs in a short amount of time will likely wipe the raid, so the raid must systematically clear the bombs while giving healers enough time in between to heal the raid. Phage Maw will also occasionally cast Plasma Flower, a series of 7 mortar shell type telegraphs that will appear in the shape of a flower and detonate after 1.5 seconds, dealing damage to those caught inside. Plasma Flower must be avoided by the raid as it causes unnecessary damage that can kill people if combined with bomb detonations. My guild uses 2 bomb groups, each with 6 DPS and 1 healer. Each group have warriors for defense grids. The 2 groups split off in opposite directions to clear the bombs while calling out when a bomb is about to explode, dropping defense grids when 2 bombs are about to go off at the same time. During the 3rd round of 4 bombs, the raid will only need to clear 2 of the bombs before collapsing on the boss to DPS while preparing for the air phase. At the end of the ground phase, Phage Maw will take off into the air, detonating all remaining bombs around the room. He will begin bombarding the room with mortar shell type telegraphs while the raid recharges the 3 generators with batteries spawning at random places in the room. After the generators are charged, collapse in the middle for the shield and ground phase. After the crater, the boss will again enter a 15-second moment of opportunity. The ground phase will now repeat itself for the next 1 minute and 40 seconds. However, instead of 4 bombs, Phage Maw will now throw out 5 bombs every 30 seconds with the same detonation timers. The bomb groups will now have to clear the bombs at an increased pace, creating a higher likelihood of stacking bombs and a strain on the healers. Similar to the first ground phase, leave 2 of the 5 bombs during the 3rd round of bombs and collapse on Phage Maw for the 2nd air phase. Recharge the generators and collapse in the middle for the burn phase. After the crater, the boss will once again enter a 15-second moment of opportunity. However, instead of splitting up into bomb groups afterwards, the 2 bomb groups with the exception of 1 or 2 DPS should stack on the boss and continue to burn him for the remainder of the encounter. Phage Maw now throws out 6 bombs every 30 seconds, making healing through the bombs unmanageable. Therefore, the raid must kill the boss before the bombs kill the raid. To delay the impending doom, the 1 or 2 DPS previously mentioned need to go around the room and stagger out the first couple of bomb detonations, while the raid should cast defensive abilities when multiple bombs go off at the same time. A good stagger during the burn phase will give you plenty of time to kill Phage Maw if you have the requisite raid DPS. Part 4 will feature Phagetech prototypes, the 4th boss of Genetic Archives, and the 2 challenges on the way to them. Please like and subscribe if you find this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.